Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Cory's Corner. Joining us today is the wonderful Ryan Roger Athay and the amazing Sean. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing very well, gentlemen. It's great to be here. And I thought Sean's name was Escaping Reality. I'm the host and founder of Reality Based, so it's good that it says The Matrix. It's great to be here, ladies and gentlemen. And hopefully, we have a great talk about aliens, interdimensional beings, wildfires, and people with tiny hats.
Indeed. How you doing, Sean?
I'm doing good today, man. Lagging behind just a little bit, but I'm gearing up to release some shows here within the next week or so. So it's good to be back on the ball.
Hell yeah, that's always a great thing to get back into it. Real quick, let's say hi to the chat. Hail to Terminus Est, and hail to Vince Womack. It's always great to see you guys here. We are talking high strangeness today. We'll touch on the recent Las Vegas sighting that was confirmed by police, and then we'll talk about some theories that people have regarding interdimensional beings. And Terminus Est asked, did Ryan just say people with tiny cocks? No. Hats. Yes,
Wink,
I could
wink.
see the confusion.
What's on your mind?
What's always on Terminus Est's mind? Sex, boobs.
Well, he is a Black
cock.
Panther. I mean, there's a reason why Africa is full of them. Please carry on.
Indeed. So we're all familiar with how many reports we've been seeing in the last couple of years. In 2022, we had over 500 reports just within the United States of UFO sightings, and many of which were actually caught on camera and various things like that.
HD camera.
And it's actually led the government to start declassifying certain materials. Nothing that actually confirms or denies, of course, because it's the government. But a lot of evidence is pointing towards us being visited by either extraterrestrial or interdimensional beings. And this is something that I've always been fascinated by, let's say, because the idea that we're the only intelligent life in the universe, in my opinion, is absolutely fucking ludicrous. There's absolutely no way that we, even if we are created by God to be his favorite species, which is also a hot matter of contention, by the way, surprise, surprise. But there's no way we're the only ones who would achieve this level of intellect. And there's no reason to believe that in the vastness of the universe, we are alone. We know that there's life on other planets just because we found microscopic organisms, but they can exist literally anywhere. Extremophiles are everywhere. So I am not personally surprised by that. But the latest things that have been coming out, and Vince points out something very important. UFO does not mean extraterrestrial. And that's an important thing. It means, like, the classification of UFO means anything that's flying that you cannot identify. So if you're a retard that's never seen a helicopter can be a UFO. But in this case, a lot of people are talking about non-human crafts and beings. One of the most recent ones that came to my attention, thanks to Sean, is a UFO sighting in Las Vegas. And we're just going to play a short clip. I'm not going to put the sound on just because I have issues with playing sound through StreamYards for some reason. But this video here shows them capturing a mysterious light. Now, of course, that's not much to go on. Hail to One Man Show. Real quick, an announcement since you're here, One Man Show. I have not renewed my Game Pass subscription, so One Eyed Wong is currently on a break because I can't decide if Xbox deserves my money or not. That being said, so
Maybe in a few months when they release Starfield.
maybe we'll see. So as you're watching here, it literally starts out as a small blue light in some trees, and then it travels, glows slightly brighter, and then vanishes behind more trees. Of course, given the time of year it could be fireworks, especially considering the fact that they explained that they heard a large boom when the blue light went by. Now, the reason my brain goes to fireworks first is because of the time of year it is. But I will out and out admit that that's a flawed theory because of how it behaves. The fireworks are typically inconsistent in luminosity, changing as they fly, becoming, they're very specific colors. Very rarely do you see a full blue firework like that.
And usually they're going up, not down.
Exactly. And Vince Womack says it looks like a meteor. We'll talk about that in a sec, actually. But what are your thoughts on this, Sean?
Well, just to give a little bit of description on this particular case. We have a small family that was up late at night around midnight. They heard a loud bang. They do have footage of that, and it's a massive bang, and the whole neighborhood hears it. And it draws their attention to the sky. They see an object, blue in color, fall out the sky and stop sort of, I can't quite remember how high above their backyard it was, but it stopped right above their backyard. And then they saw kind of shadow figures lurking around in their backyard, and that drew the father and the son out to take a look. The father went first, and the father freaked. His son was working on a truck, I think it was, and he shouted for his son, come here, take a look at this. And I think he brought a flashlight. I think he had a flashlight on hand. I'm not sure if it was his phone or not. I can't quite remember. But they were able to get a detailed look of what were very slim beings that were taller than average human height.
According to reports, roughly 10 feet tall.
Yeah, 10 feet tall. So that's some basketball players right there. They looked naked, but they didn't have any sort of bodily features other than, there was no sex organs or anything like that.
Literal tranny demons.
Yeah, they had the huge black eyes, the sort of slit, typical, almost like your standard gray alien, but very tall. They called the police. They also have footage of that, of the phone call between the dispatcher and the son. The police were dispatched, and the two.
This is where it gets odd.
Yeah, this is what made me actually give it the time of thought, because up until then I was kind of, I've heard all this before, and there's no real good footage. The only thing that kind of, when it comes to the meteorite theory, is meteorites are usually orange in color when they hit the atmosphere. That's what is creating friction and is creating a fire trail. And as it slows down you won't be able to really see anything because it's slowed down so much, and it's at night and it goes dark. Well, this is blue. This is clearly blue. Now
it increases in intensity as it flies.
Yeah, and
it's fading away.
It's a crash landing.
Yeah, I mean, it actually usually a meteorite goes from fast to slow, whereas this almost seems like it starts off slow, goes fast, and then disappears, which is kind of odd for an like meteorite or anything like that.
Right. Hail to the Nate D.
So we get the police dispatch. The partner witnessed the light fall out of the sky and stop. This is before that footage we just saw earlier, where it sort of takes off.
Mhm.
At that point in time, it had what we're seeing there. It's very late, and it actually takes off from above the yard and disappears, according to eyewitness testimony. So the cop verifies it. Multiple people in the neighborhood verify it. People that actually didn't want any attention and haven't really gone on record because they're afraid of the ridicule still to this day, and that's a big part of the UFO topic. Is a lot of reports going, or a lot of situations where
Mm.
UFOs are seen or beings are seen go unreported because a lot of people absolutely do not want the negative attention, and it's
Right.
understandable.
A
The
huge
media,
stigma.
oh yeah, for decades, the media demonized not
Mhm.
only the subject but anyone that claims to have seen. You've got pilots that have lost their jobs. You've got military personnel that have been fired for making reports. So that should give you a bit of an idea. Now, in this footage, we get the cops, not the dash cam footage, but
Yeah, you
he
get their
was,
body cam.
yeah, their body cam.
And
Thank you.
one of the things that's actually significant to me
Mm,
is a completely skeptic cop
Mm.
mm,
here's a report from his partner
mm.
stating that they saw this strange blue object come out of the sky, fall out of the sky, whatever.
In real time, yep.
And that's the reason this cop was going around and asking people about this. Now, he was
Mm,
actually stopping cars that were driving through the neighborhood and stuff and asking them if they'd seen anything fall out of the sky. A couple of them had confirmed this report, thus lending more credence to it. And they caught a photo because they said it fell out of the sky or landed. And I'm going to start this out with this is an easily faked photograph. Okay.
Mm.
mm.
But in context of everything that's going on with this, it does lend some strangeness to the high strangeness. And now, as you can see here, this is where they say it landed. Now, granted, it's a giant circle in some gravel.
Mm.
We could go outside and do that right now.
Mm-hmm.
But
Ow.
that's the thing is you don't see any drag marks. You don't
No.
see, it literally looks like an impression. It doesn't look like, and there's tire tracks running over the top of it here
Mm.
that actually the circle kind of intersects. So it's a very strange photograph in the fact that you could fake it, but there would be signs in the gravel of people faking it.
Mm.
Yeah, and they've done a good job of covering up any footprints as well. Now with
Yeah.
this, the things I would investigate is I would take background radiation samples, if you will. I would go out there with EMF devices and whatnot, because that is usually a really good way of documenting high strangeness, if you will. If you've usually, like the Rendlesham Forest, I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with it, but I'll just say look it up to save explaining
It's only
hours
the
worth of.
most famous UFO sighting in the
Mhm.
UK history, so come on.
Yeah, it had very similar sort of indentations in the ground. That's why I'm bringing this up. And there was a high level of background radiation for days after. There was huge EMF spikes. There was eyewitnesses from police in the area as well as military personnel. At a nuclear base, no less. So with this one, with the cop, what really gets me with it, and again, I was trying to hold back from being cynical here, is the cop is like, "Don't call us again if you see these beings. Like, don't
Yeah.
call us because we're not going to help you." And it's it just kind of shows that not to demonize cops here, but you kind of have to take these matters into your own hands. Don't be those cult-like mentality people that need disclosure and verification from quote unquote authorities, because uh, they are only interested in their agenda, and if it works for them, so much the better. Now, just really quickly, we've seen over the past few years, we've gone from a transition of demonizing the subject to almost hyping it up. We've had military come out with footage. We've gone from UFOs absolutely don't exist, and if you believe in aliens, extraterrestrial life, and UFOs, from whether it's interdimensional or interplanetary or time time travels, whatever you subscribe to or whatever the witnesses claim to know about these things, you're a tinfoil wearing hat moron and should be locked away in an institution. We've gone from that to, they're definitely real. We're investigating this as a potential alien threat. Blah blah blah. So my point with that is beware of a growing agenda here from the powers that shouldn't be. And I can't help but bring that up with this one because you got to look at the general area. Las Vegas is not far from Groom Lake. Groom Lake is where Area 51 is located. And if you are familiar, and I just say go look it up. There are plenty of really good interviews with military personnel, whistleblowers, not your typical tinfoil hat wearing morons. And they have come out and said at one point in the late 80s, they had Area 51 as a sort of almost like a base where where extraterrestrials would be directed to go by the military. That's where you go, stay out of the public eye, blah blah blah. Now again, the reason I'm bringing that up is Las Vegas, it could just be a case of an extraterrestrial craft had issues, it wasn't able to make it there, and it stopped, oh dear, it's in the middle of a neighborhood, they fixed it and off it goes. But just real quickly, I'm gonna have to throw this out there. You got to look at the times we live in as well, and we may end up seeing more of these cases now, which I feel like they're just hyping up potential extraterrestrial pseudo disclosure or false flag alien invasion. That's my take on it.
All right.
What we need to do, especially Americans, and I speak as a Brit who has no weapon, but do first contact properly, shoot one of these motherfuckers, and show it to the world. Hey, look what I got. I got some gray bastard. I shoot it right in the head.
Hey, man, look what I got. Bagged me a good one. So we do have a skeptic, which I always welcome, and I love it because if you don't approach it from skepticism, you can't get all the answers. But Vince Womack brings up some interesting points here. He says, look at the top of the picture. He's referring to up here. He says, it makes it easy to make it without a trace. He says, a pic from far away would be good. And I can see what he's saying here. So right up here, you don't see all the details of the circle. Different angles would be a good thing because they could have very easily run this way and then this way and then cleared out the excess over onto the side. I can see where he's coming from with that.
The fact that the image is at an angle as well is a bit of a weird.
Yeah, it's a weird angle,
choice.
And the fact that they were filming everything else but just took a picture of this, slightly disheartening because this is just a picture. If they would have recorded it, and walked around it and stuff to show us full details, it might be a better piece of evidence. But I can see where Vince is coming from, and I agree with him to a certain point. I won't fully dismiss it because you never fucking know these days. But Hail, Fat Steven.
Hello.
If you want to join our stream sometime, bro, I'm over on Gilded. I can shoot you a link for that.
I personally subscribe to the view, gentlemen, that there is no intelligent life in the universe, and that the great filter is that barrier towards intelligence, as it were, being stuck on one planet, a couple of billion people, civilization. My goodness, you think that is intelligence? Let me tell you what intelligence is, my good men. It's about taking a space rocket and going from here to Alpha Centauri like it's going from Dallas to Austin. That's intelligence, just going very, very fast. And that's what these creatures can do. But they have a very Russian mindset. They go as fast as they can, but it breaks down. And then they crash land. Then they have a drink of vodka. And then they fix it again. And then off they go until the next fuck up. Because that's what it's like, especially in America. You got all these advanced beings falling out of the sky. They may be very smart in terms of science and technology, but they need to get some engineers, man. I mean, reliability is not their strong suit if they keep falling out of the fucking sky. Like,
Well, just to
You're not
counter
wrong.
it a little bit, I mean, you
Oh.
know, there's this, you know, we like to think they're superior just because they've invented interstellar travel, when
Mhm.
really, you know, it's like us with airplanes. That's some advanced technology right there from our
Maybe they
perspective.
can't read or write.
Yeah, and the pilots absolutely, you know, are not the engineers, you know, and
Mhm.
planes do crash quite often, I
Mm.
might add. The same with cars, the same with any piece of technology we have. Technology fails no matter what.
Mm.
And I don't see why that wouldn't be different with even an advanced civilization.
Mm.
Technology, that's it's plays into chaos theory. It's, you know, it's bound to fail at some point, where we're all
Mm.
susceptible to, you know, aspects in reality that are beyond our prediction.
Mm.
That's the very essence of chaos theory.
And we
And
are dealing
So
with
hold on one
an
sec, boys.
unknown.
Mhm.
Hold on one sec. So Fat Steven says he doesn't use Gilded. And to send it through Twitter. I don't have Twitter anymore, bro. I got rid of it because I just got sick of it. Ryan, I know you're on Twitter. If you wanted to send him the link to join, I wouldn't mind.
By all means.
And
Please.
then says maybe a woman was piloting. How can you assume their genders? Oh my gosh. All right, there's my wokeness for the day.
They did look like tranny demons. So, yeah.
Indeed. So we're working on getting Fat Steven the link. But so with this, they also claimed to have gotten images of the aliens themselves. I've watched this
Really?
video like 40 different times, and I still not seeing it. So we're gonna pop this thing back up. This is the young man who is making the report, by the way. So here is where they claim that they start to see the aliens. Okay, we'll just give a quick watch through. Now, of course, it's very poor quality. The woman filming it has absolutely no fucking idea how to hold a camera. And hail to the Fat Steven. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing okay. I got a few minutes before FF16, but I'm doing all right.
All right. Cool,
Thank you
cool.
for getting your white man servant to send the link. I appreciate you.
Hell
Oh,
yeah. It's always
my.
good to have a butler.
You know what's
So-
funny? You got to crop it in a way that your beard touches the top of his head and it looks like it covers the bald.
That'd be funny as shit. So we're going to slow this down just a little bit. We're going to go to
Okay.
half speed. See if we can actually see what they're talking about here.
I would just download the video, then run it through a video filter to see whether or not it was actually real or not.
That's actually a good idea.
So the black guy's the alien?
Apparently, I'm not sure. He is tall, very skinny.
Could be a giant chicken. Maybe that's why they're all very surprised.
So again,
Where's the alien?
I wish I could zoom into that, but that's my thing is, does it have the magnifier built in? Of course it doesn't. That's a plugin.
I think it's in front of one black man and behind another black man.
It's the Bigfoot silhouette shit photoshopped in. That's what it is.
Super slow down.
We've got 3 people in front of the camera. And what that is, to me, is more of a reaction video. They see something,
Yeah.
and if it's a woman that's filming it, she's clearly, obviously not seasoned in recording videos, especially at night, because you got to keep in mind, even these advanced camera phones are not that great at shooting at night. I've tried go out and shoot the stars. All you'll get is blackness and graininess. That I wouldn't give that video any real
Wait.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Yeah, it's just react. You know, like clearly they're spooked. And now, sure, you can fake. We don't know. That's the truth. We don't know if they're acting or if they've legitimately seen something in the backyard. To me, I
Right.
would put that aside. And again, if I had investigators on hand, I would get them out there. I would take background scans of EMF, radiation.
Yeah.
I would take the time to go around and ask everyone else in that general neighborhood. It's Las Vegas, so I already know that so far, because it didn't happen that long ago. This is over the
It was
past
May
month.
1st. Yeah, May
Yeah.
1st is when they said that happened.
Yeah, so I already know that the police have had reports from people that were blocks away of seeing this thing in the sky, and they said they saw it stationary. They said they saw it move, but they all kind of collaborate on the color of this thing, and that was blue. The only people that we have to go on when it comes to beings of any kind is that one family, because
Right.
it was only on their property. So if they don't have any better footage than that, again, I would just put that aside for now and not
Right.
focus on that and just focus on the scientific evidence you can get.
Right. And
Corroborate the
Vince
story.
Womack, of course, says, "Oh my God, a UFO! Quick, where's the most garbage camera on Earth?" Word. That is usually how it works for investigators. So I want to get your guys' opinions on something. Are all of you familiar with who MUFON is?
I've
The
worked
Mutual
for,
UFO
well,
Network.
Yeah, that was
been
the
an
failed.
intern for them at one point, dude. So yeah.
So
Was
what
that
are
the-
your opinions on it? Starting with Ryan. What are your opinions
I
on
think
MUFON?
I think it's a good organization. Highlighting the problem, as it were. All these sightings, especially in the United States, they should warrant at least some kind of investigation, even if it turns out to be a dead end. So I'm fully in support of MUFON and what it does. We need to investigate the stars for any sign of alien activity, whether that alien is hostile foreigners or hostile non-human entities, even gigantic mutated birds, because
All
that's a
right.
lot of shit on cars. Folks.
That is a lot of shit. What about you, Fat Steven?
I never saw the movie. I heard it was filmed outside Chinese labor camps. I won't watch any Mulan remakes.
MUFON. Yeah.
Move
Not-
on.
not-
That's the new Frozen song instead of like.
All right, that's fair.
I don't know who Move On is. I'm sorry. That's why.
Really?
The Mutual UFO
Mutual,
Network is a international organization that collects, categorizes, and archives reports of UFO activity. They do have an investigative team, several investigative teams that will go out to locations and take various readings of radiation and various things like that. And they've been around since like the 60s, I think.
Okay.
Something like that.
Roughly,
So,
yeah.
what do you think, Sean?
Well, as I was an intern for about a year and a half for a radio broadcast company that was in charge of MUFON's radio show. So I got a little bit of background as to how MUFON is run, what the investigators are like, and I will say, starting with a positive, there's a lot of people that are signed up as investigators for MUFON are really great people. They're really scientifically minded. They approach it with a healthy dose of skepticism. They are not out to say one way or the other. They are just trying to provide the facts for people and giving people that do have sightings of something they can't explain a place to go to. Because the government, for the longest time, that's only changed over the past year. There was nowhere to go. If you have any sort of sighting, you report it to the authorities. Like I said, you're shunned. But MUFON was different. It was more of it was an organization. Primarily, it started with volunteers, and then it grew. It got funding. The problems that I saw were with the leadership. And the time that I was an intern, it was around the time it was changing the leadership, and it was kind of being taken in a direction that was more, we're going to do what the government tells us. It was, I think the leader, and I've got this written down somewhere because I was making notes, and it's been a few years, so my memory's a little foggy. It was someone that had ties. They were either an ex-CIA official or they were tied to one of those 3-letter agencies. So I already had trust issues there. But yeah, the boots on the ground, as they say, the people that go and investigate, they're, for the most part, they are great people. They are, they do the hard work. They spend the time and the money to get out there and do the work that needs to be done to either prove or disprove, because that's what you need to do when you investigate. You do not, put your opinions aside. You go out and you find out if it's true or not. It's
Right.
very easy for anyone to sit there, look at shitty footage, look at shitty pictures, that don't have all the facts, and say,
Shitty
"Oh,
one.
that's bullshit." That's all bullshit. Like we were there, like we experienced it. No, we haven't really done any investigatory work. All we have to go off of is like eyewitness testimony and terrible footage from people that don't really know how to shoot
Right.
footage or take pictures, especially at night, which completely changes the game. Like I tell anyone, you've all got phone cameras, I'm sure. Go out on a pitch black night or in a neighborhood that where you've got light pollution, because that also fucks with not only focus but trying to get the lighting balance. And just try shoot a star or a plane in the sky. We've got airports pretty much everywhere here in the States. And just try. You might catch a little bit of the blinking of the strobe lights on the plane, but the focus will be out of whack. It'll be grainy. It'll look terrible. And if we could sit there and criticize those people all day long, right? So those, take that for what it is, but really try to push for the good hard scientific evidence, and
Right.
then we can make an assumption based off
So,
of fact.
Steven,
Yes.
what are your thoughts on all of this, aliens and whatnot?
The universe is too big to not have other life out there. It would be pretty much naive to ever think so. When it comes to intelligent life, do they look at us as intelligent?
I don't.
Especially with the last 5 years, you're like sitting there going, "I hope the Twitter doesn't broadcast into space." But no,
Right.
it's the same thing with like whether you're spiritual or religious, whether or not you believe in aliens or ghosts. Everyone's going to have an experience that will give them like maybe an opportunity to respect the onsite without having to believe in it. Like when it comes to spiritual stuff, I can actually share a story. I was helping take care of a friend. She just got eye surgery on both eyes, so she couldn't see for a week, right? So they asked me down, said, "Well, we'll feed you. Just make sure you can help her like get around the house, take her out, stuff like that, because she's technically blind." The weird thing is, I was in her kitchen one of the days of the week, and I was refilling the dishwasher, and out of the corner of your eye, these feelings right away. It was like the shape of a kid, and it just ran past me. And it was gone. But my whole body froze, right? All the hairs on my body were standing up. And then I asked her, I'm like, "Well, did you have a previous family living here before?" And they're like, "Yeah." "Did they have a little girl?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, I'm out. I'm just out. I'm just out," because it was the weirdest experience. So when you get something like that to happen, like you don't need ghost adventures or ghost hunters or stuff like that. Like you can have those experiences if you're in tune with them, and then they kind of change your outlook. Like there's way too many possibilities in a galaxy to not say it doesn't exist. That's where science and belief can cross hand in hand. But again, it's also up to the personality.
Very
Right.
well stated. Very well
So,
stated.
real quick, I forgot to say hello to Massgrave, Hail Massgrave. He says, try to take a picture of the moon, of a supermoon, even. You can't with the phone.
There could be a Death Star in her orbit, and the phone.
Yeah.
See,
Take a
I
picture of it.
I believe in. I also believe in the deja vu principle. I will have dreams. Like I don't have dreams that I remember mostly, but I'll have dreams when I do remember them. It's like certain scenes of something like I usually do in my life, and it could be anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks to a month or 2 months, and all of a sudden I'll be living through my life. I'll forget the dream, but all of a sudden I will just see that image of what was in that dream however long ago, and my body locks up again. I'm like, okay, I'm having premonition of just certain things, and it locks you out. That's why I can't say things don't exist.
Hey,
Right.
Steven, real quickly, Cory, could I might have to send an invite for you to come on do an hour-long show where I actually talk about this stuff, because you touched upon something that I really, I have a lot of deja vus in my life, and I kind of got to a point years ago where I started making notes of not only my dreams, but when I have, for example, real quickly, one time I was in the shower and I had almost like a split vision, or like a split image, even like a second image of I was suddenly in another bathroom somewhere that I did not recognize. I was getting out of the shower. I was like, what the fuck? I was suddenly looking in the mirror. Then I got out of the shower. I was like, what the fuck was that? And then about 6 to 8 months later, I'd moved to a kind of a shitty apartment. And I was getting out of the shower, and then it just dawned on me. It was weird. It just dawned on me. Holy shit. This is the room. This is the shower. This is the bathroom I saw in that, and it freaked me out. And
It gives you that cold wave, right? It like goes from start from your head and just goes down your arms and everything. It's not like it's like a bad shock. It's like
no,
it's like you kind of like cross zones, and it's like the memory is catching up to the relativity of where it was, but why did you get it back then? Sorry, I gotta explain that.
No, dude, it really is right. I'm sorry, I'm also got my eyes on chat as well. So, Masquerade, I'll answer your question in a minute. But yeah, it's like it's difficult to put into words as well because it's purely an emotion. It's like it's a feeling. It's less thought and feeling, and it's just
like when you wake up. It's like when you wake up and you're just coming out of a dream, but you're still in, but not really. It's like that blurry image.
Yeah,
but it seems to be in your vision, but not in your vision, and then it hits you in an emotional. I get what you're saying, like, and I have those quite a lot. Like I can predict a lot of things, and people tell me to stop doing it.
It creeps people out, and of course, people will believe it, but it is what it is. But real quickly, Masquerade, you seeing the black cat twice, Sean? Well, just to give you a real, it's actually kind of a humorous story. Me and a friend, when we were in college, we were going through a harsh winter, and we woke up one morning. We were both late. We were going to catch the bus to get to college, and everything was just working against us. We forgot homework, and we had to rush back up. We didn't have breakfast. My friend, he was slipping all over the place because there was ice on the ground. And then we took the bus. We got to about a block away from school. And he slipped and he fell on the ice, like what I would say rather epically. And I burst out laughing. That's kind of cruel, I know, but it's just reactionary. And I fell on my knees. I was just laughing. And then I kind of just said, what would really make this morning really fun and complete is if a black cat crossed our path. And I shit you not, that because I was looking at him off to my side when I said that, still laughing. And then we sort of both looked down the street towards the school, and this black cat ran across the street and disappeared. And I just, once again, I burst out laughing, and I was shouting, no fucking way.
Weird synchronicity is a huge part of high strangeness.
Yeah, but he played along with it, and he like turned around and walked, like he just played like he was gonna walk home. Like I was like, I'm done with today. I'm done. Yeah, after I said that. So, but
it must be all those Native American curses, for all the millions of dead through blankets. I say that in quotes, and all of the curses are coming back to life, as it were, manifesting into tranny demons and blue meteorites and cold chills and people being messed around with spirits. My goodness. Maybe that's who they were worshiping.
So
from the
real quick
dimension.
Just want to say hail to Lord Shax over on the Rumble side. He says Fat Steven doesn't always play video games, but when he does, he also guest hosts on other channels. And he follows that up with life is oddly like a lucid dream. It can be. I will actually share an experience I had with deja vu. So I had a dream one time that we were touring a house to buy. And there was a very specific setup in the bathroom of all places. And, normally I woke up and was like, that's a fucking weird ass dream. 6 months down the line, we're actually touring houses to buy. And we come into the house that we're currently in. I walk into the bathroom, and it is literally the bathroom from my dream, down to the giant ass wooden cabinet that was sitting inside, taking up 90% of the space. And I asked the guy, I'm all like, what's up with this cabinet? Can we have this? And he's like, oh, that's my daughter's. It's going to go away and all this other stuff. And then I had a second bout of deja vu in that exact moment because I remembered, even in my dream, the dude saying, nah, that belongs to my daughter. So very strange shit as far as I'm concerned.
All sorts of things come out of the woodwork, ladies and gentlemen. And also, your mind can play tricks on you.
Mm-hmm.
Although I will say, ladies and gentlemen, some people, the tricks can be in terms of auditory. Put on a set of headphones like this great guy, play very loud music, and it sounds like someone's speaking to you while the music's playing very loud. Or you see things, strange things, unexpected things. Whether you're talking with friends, both online and offline, you see these strange creatures, as it were, of all sorts of shades and colors. And if you see them, that's hallucinations. You're clearly going insane in that respect. So if you do see anything strange during the stream, folks, you are fucking crazy. But
So
all
is it
sorts
safe
of
to
weird.
say you do not believe in the paranormal then, Ryan? Or
Oh, I do. I definitely do. Because the madness is everywhere. It's bleeding into our reality from something or somewhere else. Which is
Well, and
why I
that
lead into the interdimensional
yeah, and that's a
aspect.
great segue to the idea that many of these are not in fact extraterrestrials, but they are extra
Interdimensional.
dimensional or
Hmm.
interdimensional beings. With ghosts and stuff, a lot of people will say it's a time ripple.
Mhm.
It's resonance of high energy events or people that existed. With aliens,
Uh-oh.
some people ask, why would an interdimensional being need a craft if they are in fact an interdimensional being?
Their body wouldn't
And
survive the other dimension, probably
Yeah, it's
based
like
off
when
their
we
Yeah.
go into the ocean, for
and
example,
it's
why we need
yeah, why do we need
submarines,
submarines? Why do we need
submersibles.
spacecrafts? Why do we need airplanes with pressurized cabins, et cetera, et cetera?
Exactly.
Yeah, two-dimensional creatures would have to feed on the existence of current three-dimensional creatures to enter the third dimension. Same
But
for us in fourth, as it were.
What's up, Fat?
I was going to say, let's look at, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on this because I'm not very well versed, but let's look at ley lines as an example. If ley lines are interdimensional, then or even multidimensional, when you're having a deja vu, it's because someone's already ahead of you in the same line you're taking on your path. And that's why you're getting that memory then, and then you're re-experiencing it now.
And just to interject real quickly, is we always have to remember that it's open interpretation as well from our own perspectives with these things we're experiencing. Some people, like you said, Stephen, maybe they approach it from a more spiritual aspect, or some people might approach it from a more scientific aspect. Take that for what you will. Some people approach it with a more skeptical aspect, from a more cynical aspect, more denial aspect. I've met all kinds of these people. And we also have to remember as well that a lot of people get tunnel vision with this stuff. Like, it has to be time travelers. Every single one of these has to be time travelers. Every single one of these reports has to be interdimensional. Every single one of these has to be interplanetary. When probably the fact of the matter is, it's probably all of the above. We probably do have interdimensional beings coming in. We probably do have interplanetary. We probably do have, the spiritual side, for what it's worth, when it comes to ghosts, which, opens up a whole nother rabbit hole. But, there's so much it could be. And we have to remember that the human eye can only see like a small percentage of the visual light spectrum as well.
Well,
That's
the internet, you could argue, is an artificial dimension.
Yeah,
And whatever
absolutely.
is created
Cloud,
in it, if it can think and feel, that could be the dimensional being that we are facing, a dimensional being of our own making.
Well, I don't think that would be. What did you say? Like a dimensional being,
artificial dimension.
Yeah,
because look at us. We're three-dimensional beings being projected in a two-dimensional way in an artificial dimension known as the internet. You could argue that's a bit interdimensional.
Yeah, and we're viewing it through a screen that is projecting code, and our eyes are interpreting it in a certain way through a translation. That is a really good, that is a really, really good example that we can all relate to, that we can all
We're in an interdimensional realm right now, and if an artificial version of intelligence, you could use AI as a basic blanket example, could be the interdimensional being fucking up our civilization.
Well, AI could be that, or AI could also be under the pretenses of Ghost in the Machine.
There is that as well. Vince brings up something that plays into the ley lines and various things like that, and that's the fact that magnetic fields can make your brain see things. And this is actually a very well-researched phenomenon where electromagnetic fields of certain intensity and frequency will, in fact, affect the human brain to the point that they can hallucinate. They can have psychotic breaks. Emotional swings. All kinds of crazy shit happens. And
Hydration causes hallucination.
hydration, lack of food, or going a period without food and then eating can cause you to hallucinate. A lot of things can cause your brain's chemistry to mess up to where they don't receive signals correctly, or some might argue they pick them up more accurately. As we would see beliefs of this kind of thing through Native Americans, spirit walks, using mind-altering substances to see reality, LSD treatments that people say they see interdimensional beings. Yes, it makes you hallucinate, but a lot of people really believe what they see in these states. Hail to Janet from another planet. It's good to see you here, ma'am. But
and just to interject, Cory, just to throw the other side of the aspect to this as well. If you look at ancient cultures and ancient teachings, a lot of these people, like ayahuasca, for example, I'm not sure how familiar you are with ayahuasca, but it's worth looking up, that you actually need some substances, like a drug, if you will, what we would classify as a drug, to access these, to access these other dimensions. Now, this is where my skepticism comes in a little bit. I'm always like, you got to be careful with that, because then how will you be able to know if what you're seeing is not just an hallucination,
right?
Or if it actually really is, as to how the ancient cultures say, you are actually now, it's like a key to access alternate dimensions and realities and whatnot. It's interesting stuff, and it requires more investigation for sure. But there are two sides to that coin. But when it comes to psychotropic drugs, we got to remember the 60s. If any of you know about MK Ultra, which is on record, has been run by the government, where the LSD actually came out of that, and it was fed into the hippie movement. But it originated in MK Ultra, and they were studying how people react to psychotropic drugs and if they could weaponize it, which they eventually did. And as the reports go, the hippie movement was the test grounds for that, and we all saw how that went. And so we know that the military have a huge the military industrial complex, I'll say, has a huge interest in this stuff, and that was back in the 60s.
Right.
So we can only, we already know they got technology now where they can project images. They can make you hear things that aren't there. They can make you hear things, and someone like maybe a few feet away from you doesn't hear it, because it's
they
just
can break
focused
the
on
fabric of reality using a hadron collider, And,
oh yeah, the God particles, as they've
Hail
unironically called it. But yeah, we live in times now where this is something I try to stress to people. When it comes to giving away your power, do you really want these people fucking around with this stuff? Do you trust these people? What have they done to earn your trust to be fucking around with?
Don't trust stupid apes with the future of your existence.
The very fabric of space-time,
Yeah, in all honesty,
black holes.
I don't believe any intelligent life exists because it's full of imperfect people from all across the universe who are trying to make their way. And we're not intelligent, because if we were intelligent, we wouldn't be destroying ourselves. You could argue we wouldn't be destroying our planet, but that is a hotly contested debate. And we wouldn't be just destroying everything. That's what we're good at doing.
Ryan,
destroying everything.
But Ryan, if you look at us compared to the age of the universe, we're nothing more than a young race. We're still babies. Of course, we're still in this mode. We have no concept of even bettering our world for everybody when we're still trying to segregate everybody. So even with the destruction there is intelligence, but we haven't reached the intelligence where we need to seek the stars and stop seeking just for ourselves. And that's the problem.
It's a very good point. It's sort of an immature form of intelligence. It hasn't, and it might have been held back longer than it should have been to naturally mature into a more advanced form of intelligence.
Well, there are two different routes to that intelligence. Either all of humanity goes kumbaya, my lord, kumbaya, or one part of humanity wipes everyone else out and everyone looks exactly the same. One of those two outcomes, I
There's
think.
three. Human
Oh,
race
there's-
wipes out itself.
Yep.
Ah,
Yep, which is definitely on the table. If you look at the times we live in, but you also got to keep in
Wolf
mind as well,
East
we can't even get along
Mongolia.
with ourselves. We
Mm.
can't even get along with ourselves. So how the hell do you expect us to be able to get along with beings from another planet or beings from another dimension? Are you kidding?
We
mean,
never
Warhammer.
would. I mean, we're a species who wages war on birds. You give you
Yeah. And
Australia.
emus. Emus are birds.
Yeah.
Sparrows,
all kinds of different
China.
stuff. But so Massgrave brings up an important point here. He says that he knows that there's a lot of theories about this kind of stuff, but there's no way to create a decent hypothesis because you can't gather. It's hard to gather evidence on things we don't understand at all, and
or if
that's
someone's
actually really
gatekeeping the evidence as well.
well, yeah, and that's the problem with modern day, in my opinion, is we don't have access to even a quarter of the information that's available. In my personal opinion on the matter, we don't have access to even a quarter of the information that's actually available because of the gatekeeping and nepotism and the crazy hierarchical structures of power and such. Who's allowed to know what? Are you worthy? That's not for them to fucking decide, but it's none of our business,
The
right?
need to know
Well said, man,
basis.
well said.
Yeah, and
which is an excuse for no one needing to know except
well,
those
I don't need mommy and
around
daddy
me.
anymore to tell me what I can
Right.
and cannot know. I got to the age of reason around 16, 17, 18, which is, the unanimous consensual
American.
age. And then we're supposed to be sent out into the world and we're supposed to mature so that we can handle things on our own. Now, sure, back in like the 40s when the CIA was created, it was created to primarily handle these kind of situations and dictate what the public is allowed to know and not allowed to know for, and I quote, national security. Now, back then, it was just after World War II, and I kind of gave it a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, sure. It was a time when people were still on edge. You had the war was still going on. You had the Korean War. We hadn't quite gotten to the Vietnam War yet. So I could kind of understand that perspective a little bit, but we are way past now.
Don't forget about that.
Yeah, I mean, the excuse that all religions would fall, people would freak out, there'd be anarchy in the streets and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, I think, if you handle it properly, if you teach people how to handle this information, so we've even got works of fiction like Star Trek that would show us that we could truly have a wonderful situation in the world. Well, I think that would have happened already, where if just some alien, that is very human-like. Oh, huge spaceships will come down and destroy the planet. It's like, yeah,
no, they
sure,
infiltrate the civilization and take it over from within.
I think that would be the smart, intelligent way of doing it. And there's, well, it brings up a whole nother conversation as to whether that's happened or not. But what that does, like Independence Day, is it hypes up the fear, you see, for an immature intellect. And, we can't have, aliens out there, otherwise they'll come down and destroy us. It creates that fear mentality, when,
Well, I didn't know Sean was around during the early Cold War period. He's looking good for his age.
I told you I'm 35 going on 80, man. So,
So one of our lizard overlords brings up that you cannot find anything online anymore except for what the filter shows you. Everything is hidden on the dark web so that there is no way for the general public to see it. And this is one of the things that adds to the mystery, in my opinion, of everything that's going on, is the fact that you can go to the dark web or even the deep web, assuming you have the proper protections in place. Right. Just a little bit, but oh well. And you can start researching things and looking for things, but you have no way of verifying what you find on the dark and the deep web because of how restricted the access actually is. And then you have the problem with the mainstream narratives that, one, they are controlling them. They are controlling the narratives to be incredibly selective. But the biggest thing there is you come back to the need to know basis of them thinking that, one, we're not smart enough to handle the actual truth of the universe, and two, they don't think that we deserve to, because we are not high enough class or caste to actually have access to the information. We're all just peons and such.
Or they're just all aliens.
Well, look at it this way. If we did have access to that information, why would we need quote unquote government? We would have no need for them. We would be intelligent enough to be able to run our own lives. We'd all get, again, I could only point to things like Star Trek that would show us, yeah, that is the way we could handle things.
Or
But
the alien lords see that their puppets are not doing a good enough job and have a direct occupation force.
Well, if you want to go down that road, if there is any truth to that aliens have infiltrated the power structure, and whether it's recently or they've done it since the beginning, it adds a whole nother layer. I still think, we still should know the truth to be able to. I don't. A lot of people think that if that's the case, we have no chance. So we should just
It's like a controlled
just
demolition.
accept what we got. Yeah, well, I can only go off of what I know as a fact, and I know for a fact that human beings are capable of doing this themselves. Now, I'm not saying that is what is, I just know I can prove that more than I can prove that, aliens infiltrated, and they're the ones that are kind of the origin of this issue.
Well, I'm just channeling more of the based part of reality based than the reality.
Sure, man. No, this is great. This is a great subject to talk about, and it should be put out there for people to talk about seriously. But you also have to look at things we can prove as well. A lot of these people in power, you look at monarchies, they think they have a divine right to rule over the masses. They openly admit it. They try and sell it to you as a benevolent thing, but absolutely not. They've done nothing but negative things to the mass, and they've kept the masses in a perpetual state of ignorance and immaturity. Now, if you suddenly had an awake and aware masses, they would most likely overthrow whatever is inflicting negativity upon them. That's the sort of natural.
Which needs to happen anyway.
I think it's inevitable at some point. Either that, or we all, go quietly into the night, which is unacceptable to me.
Yep.
But at that, my point with that was, whether it's politicians, which is just a modern version of monarchies. I don't care what anyone says. They, like I said, they come off of that divine right to rule. That is what it's all about. Like God or some higher power, whatever they want to call it, because. Yeah, well, that guy is not in control of his own mentality anymore. Never mind, politics or ruling an entire country. He's just a puppet. But yeah, a higher power, and they have divine right to rule. And these are the kind of psychopaths that if they were to lose that power, if they were to lose that control over the world, they would rather see it burn than let anyone have their way with it, whether it's
like losing control over a zoo. And I know, Cory, your show is usually about an hour long, so we'll have to wrap up.
Yeah. So hail to the Basco scenario. And as Ryan pointed out, we are nearing the hour mark, and I know Fat Steven has a stream to get to. So, hey, Fats, why don't you tell people where they can find you and what you do?
Well, if you want to link them up, I'm going to be doing the Final Fantasy 16 demo since they dropped that yesterday, and all progress in that will carry over to the midnight release coming on the 22nd. Or you can find me on Twitter and Rumble, or you can probably see my thumbnails for other channels I do all over YouTube. But yeah, thanks for having me come in for a little bit. Nice meeting y'all.
Likewise, Steven. It was great to get to talk to you, man.
Always great.
You won't ever say that again, though, Sean.
No, we'll see. I've been kind of a fan of yours for a while, like in the community. When I've seen you go on streams and stuff, dude, it's always a pleasure when Fat Steven comes on.
I'm amazed Fat Steven doesn't have kick. Can fat people kick?
I'm not using Kick. Rumble is good enough for me. I'm verified over there, and I got my YouTube. I don't need multiple.
Hell yeah. Speaking of which, make sure you're subscribed to Fat Steven's YouTube. That's at JFG. And of course, over on the Rumble side, it's Fat Steven JFG. Make sure you're subscribed to him. He does a lot of awesome content. He's been playing a couple new horror games that have come out, and I've been enjoying that.
Oh, at the Outlast trials where I scream
Yeah.
like a little bitch. Yeah, thank you. For that.
The Outlast, and then what was that new one? The
The bunker.
Amnesia?
Yeah, that goddamn bunker.
I'm actually looking forward to checking that game out myself. But
It's on Game Pass, and they're putting Starfield on Game Pass. They already have the pre-install, which looks pretty good.
Yeah, I might actually have to renew it. I don't know.
I thought Starfield was coming out in September. Is it seriously coming out like soon?
It's on Game
Yeah,
Pass.
September. Day one
for a
Game
pre-install. Yeah, it has pre-installs already, so it's annoying.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah,
Nice.
hopefully it has
Okay.
cloud
Yeah.
gaming too. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
I don't.
So.
All right, gentlemen, have a great one. I got to take
You
off.
too.
Take care, Steven.
All right.
Take
Thank you,
care, guys.
Steven. Ryan, what you got going on? Where can people find you?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for watching this show. If you're very sharp, you've noticed that I was cameoing my little Care Bear, just to remind you all that, it's a hallucination. Ooh, you're crazy. I alluded to that, but no, it is real. It's as real as Israel. Thank you all very much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel, TalksALot Entertainment. I'm sure you'll enjoy what Cory has to offer. You can find me at Ryan Roger Athe. I am the host and founder of Reality Based. You can find me on YouTube, Twitter, where else? Instagram, and even on Twitch. And just type in that name. I'm sure you'll find me all over the internet. And thank you all very much for watching. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, and no other genders or binaries, bye for now, folks.
All right. So, real quick, I'll say hello to Turo, who just came in last minute. He says, "Why can't I donate money?" Well, I'm not monetized on YouTube, but if you do want to support the channel and help us get to the future meetups, you can hit the Ko-Fi link in the description and in the live chat. It is the pinned tweet right now. Then hail to Real Wade Nation Gaming. Great to see you as well. Massgrave says, "I don't need to hallucinate to know I'm crazy." This is true. And of course, there's the link to drop a tip if you would like. Sean, what you got going on? Where can people find you?
I just want to say a quick thank you to Vince Womack for sharing my channels. You can find me on Escaping the Matrix. I am having my Rumble Escaping the Matrix go live by Monday next week, hopefully. I'm not on YouTube with it. I refuse to take part in YouTube anymore. I'm just done with it. Omega Star Productions, which is where I host my short movie, I'm probably gonna take that off of YouTube, which would pretty much cut all ties to YouTube for me and put it on Rumble, because I really think Rumble is the place to go right now. I am on Odyssey with my channels, and I am on BitChute. Personally, they're not as great as what Rumble is, but you can find me there. I also have He Who Laughs. I would really appreciate anyone that is interested in reviews for movies and things like that. I did a almost an hour-long review of The Force Awakens. Oh yeah, I would definitely appreciate anyone stopping by and taking a look at that. So yeah, thank you for having me on the show, Ryan. It was great to talk to you, man. Cory, as always, looking forward to whenever you have me on again.
Sean looks like an alien, folks. Look at his very long fingers and his extremely massive
piano
not
fingers.
Forehead, but this part of the head.
Says the man who looks like
he's 40 years old.
I mean, come on. This man is turning 24.
Yeah.
Okay. And he looks older than I am. I'm just saying. Okay. It's not fair for Ryan to get that kind of genetic shuffle.
What's it like having a massive beard in the middle of the summer, Cory?
Well, right now we're suffering from El Nino, so it's constant rain. Not a big deal. Normally,
we're still
I want to
waiting
shave it
for
off
summer
after
to
a
kick
week.
off.
Yeah. I want to shave this shit after a week when it's actually hot. I'm like, fuck this. I hate this beard. It's pissing me off.
And here, Ryan, real quickly, I wish I was an alien man, because then I could totally tell people that claim that I'm glad to be an alien. That means I'm not a human being from this world, and I can cut all ties to you. That would be wonderful, man. So good stuff.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching today's show. I had a great time talking about some high strangeness with our wonderful panel of people. Make sure you're subscribed to everyone here, and make sure you catch us tonight on Yelling at Parked Cars over on Comics Division's channel. We will probably be discussing some Trump indictment and various other things. Vince Womack says, what does the wife think about the beard? She loves it. She doesn't love it this big, but she doesn't like it when I'm clean shaven because she says it makes her feel old. And anyone who's seen me without a beard knows why, because I look fairly young. Anyway, yeah.
My
No Wong this
Xbox
week.
just turned itself on, so
It's a sign. Your Xbox turned itself on saying you need to come play. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what else is going on the rest of this week because we have birthday stuff for my son, so I don't know if I'll be getting to any additional content. That being said, I am producing a full-on series regarding Frank Lee. I'm even writing him a theme song. It's going to be a great time. It will be a little while before we get that out because currently I have 11 hours of footage to cut. So, yeah, it's going to be a fun time. But anyway, stay sexy. Don't get murdered. And as always, have a wonderful time. Bye-bye.